Hi everyone, it's Rebecca, the Colorful Book Nester, and today I'm going to share with you what I plan on reading and are currently reading in the month of September. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is that I do have a few reading challenges, which I am working on. I have two of them. One of them started in January, the other one started in July, and those reading prompts and kind of those guides have really helped me figure out what I'm reading on a month-to-month basis. I love planning my reading, and planning for every month is a great way to get myself excited again, or to look back at what I haven't finished and go, I'm getting that done this month. Actually achieving 100% in any of the reading challenges, I can't say that's a real goal of mine because I don't think it's realistic. I don't read that many. One of the reading challenges has probably 100 books, probably, by the time, if you did it the way they want you to. The other one has 52 books. The fact that I typically read about 3 books a month doesn't bode well for me actually finishing these challenges. But they do get me to try things that maybe I hadn't thought about. So one of the challenges that I have going on, the prompt is to read a new release within 60 days of its release, but to do this on a monthly basis. Whew, okay, so what that means is that I'm going to be getting a new release every month, so 12 new books, but I need to be reading them within 60 days of that release date. Point in case we have The Enchanted Greenhouse. Now this came out in July, mid-July, and the prompt says that I should be reading this within 60 days, which I am. And what's really great, I'm getting to read it as a buddy read with Fiona and with Emily. And it's really taken this book and this experience up a notch. I have to highly recommend, if you can find one other person to read with, and part of the reason is this book is incredibly charming. You can see all the pages that I've read. It's very charming. It has a lot of funny parts in it. It has great characters and funny moments. And there's a lot to kind of feel when I'm reading this book. And it's fun because when I want to talk to somebody about it, I have somebody. So we use WhatsApp, and we tag what chapters we're talking about so nobody gets spoilers if they're a little bit behind or if they're far ahead or they know what we're talking about. And we just leave recorded messages, and it's been fantastic. Very much like we used to do on Voxer, now we're doing it on WhatsApp. But it's been so fun to be able to, when I have one of those moments in the book that I want to share that I just found very heartfelt, or I felt very funny or poignant, I just love that idea that I can put that into a message for Fiona and or Emily. Not to mention different points of view. We notice different things throughout the book. We ask different questions as we're reading. So it's been a great experience. Now, as I'm reading this, I would say it could be a standalone, but we know that it's in the same universe. So it's in the same empire, so to speak, as the first book by Sarah Beth Derstness. I'm going to call it a series, and that's The Spell Shop. So I read The Spell Shop in August at Fiona's urging that I go ahead and get it. So now I've read them both, or I'm almost done with this one. I would say this. These are standalone books. You could read this one and not read this one. This one, this main character in Enchanted Greenhouse, is mentioned very early on and very just as a passing character. We're now going to learn her story in the subsequent one. This is happening all within the Crescent Islands Empire, so you have that joint world, and it's really close to the same time frame. Reading this on its own, I think, is fine, and I think there's enough information in this book to let you know where you're at, but it feels deeper knowing these two stories together. So I would suggest reading both of them, definitely. But it's a very cozy read. Sarah Beth Durst described it as she wanted to write something that felt like a warm hot chocolate, like the best hot chocolate you've ever had, just that coziness that it exudes. And I think she's done it. It's a little bit deeper than just a regular cozy, in that I feel like the humor is there, definitely. The thought, she's very good at keeping her characters true to form, even when there is that temptation of going tropish, she still, instead of following that or stereotypical or what we would expect, these characters are acting like you would expect them to be acting once you know their background and you know who they are. And I like that. I like when a character, just like with people, you don't like when people start acting very random, you get a little bit concerned. I like when characters stay true to character. And she does a nice job of that. On to the other book that I've been reading, and I've actually been reading this one for a little while. This one is to fill a prompt of a fairy tale retelling. The irony is in this case, it is the retelling of a fictional fairy tale. This is The Princess Bride. It is definitely a pop icon cultural phenomenon from the Gen X generation, and I totally missed it. I didn't miss it. You know, it was just everywhere. I didn't go see it in the movie theaters because they do make a movie of it. It is a very famous movie. I know all the quotes from it. I know excerpts from it, but I've never read the book nor seen the movie, and that's part of the prompt is a fairy tale retelling, and then you watch the movie adaptation, and that's what I'm doing, hopefully. I hope to get through it by September. It's easy to read, but it's also hilarious, and I'm enjoying the hilarity. It reminds me a little bit of Terry Pratchett's Discworld and kind of the extra bits that are being said, the commentary that runs along with it. So I really like that. That's also the book that I carry with me. I like having a paperback, a small paperback to carry with me whenever I'm, just running errands around and I might end up someplace where I might get to read. The downside is I haven't been leaving the house very much, which isn't such a downside, but the downside is I haven't been out and about. That's why that book's not been as much attention paid to it as it deserves. But I have a feeling it'll be picking up once I get done with Enchanted Greenhouse, which right now we're just reading 2 chapters a day, and very manageable, by the way. Now, on the flip side of that, I have been listening, and I'm almost finished. I mean, I'm getting probably 45 minutes to the end of Hemlock and Silver. And this is another one which fits for the prompt of, it's a new release. It came out in August, and I'm trying to read it within 60 days of its release date. It is by T. Kingfisher. It's the first one I've ever read from her, and I'm loving it. I love the heroine in it. It is an interesting, it's not such a fairy tale retelling as she's taken elements from a familiar fairy tale. So in this case, Snow White. You even have a character named Snow. You have mirrors and apples and all kinds of things going on. But your main protagonist is not Snow White. Your main protagonist is nobody. Related to the actual story, she is a poisoner, a healer, but she specializes in poisons. So she is a fascinating, fun character. And this is a sassy, smart, clever, physically doesn't seem to be the typical trope that I would expect from what I would think is a younger kind of heroine. She's not that young. I mean, she's young compared to me, but a lot of things are. But she has a little bit of experiences in her life, and she's actually holding on to those, and she uses those. She's just strong, and she knows who she is, and I really like that in stories nowadays. Think of Veronica Speedwell. Think of Emily Wilde. It's those type of characters. I can read those kind of books over and over, and I do. Is it Georgie from her Royal Spyness series? I love those type of characters. I really enjoy them a lot. So that is the 3rd book that I'm currently listening to, should be finishing. And when I finish that, I'll go on to another Audible book because I love having audiobooks going all the time. I listen to them whenever I'm doing my ironing, whenever I'm cleaning, whenever I'm doing my paint by numbers, whenever I'm doing coloring. There's just so many opportunities. The only thing that seems to interrupt my audiobook reading nowadays for some reason is I love live trial coverage on YouTube. Anybody else? I don't know. I've turned into one of those, and I tell you, there's no cases going on right now. We just finished up one, but that's why I'm getting through Hemlock as quick as I am. Hemlock and Silver. Great book so far. Really enjoying it, and definitely enjoying the audio. After I get done with that one, I am planning on picking up a 2nd book, and I think it's in a trilogy. It's by Nora Roberts. It's called Becoming. It's second in a series. Fiona and I started reading the first book, and we did read the first book. And I remember I enjoyed it and liked it. And obviously I did, because I went out and I purchased the second in the trilogy. And that was quite a few years ago. So this was a new trilogy a long time ago. It's now finished, of course. But I've got the second one called Becoming by Nora Roberts. It was my first Nora Roberts I had ever read, and I enjoyed it. I really did. So I'm looking forward to listening to this one and seeing where the story goes. I'm hoping they give some snippets to help me remember where we left off, because, no offense, it's been many, many years, and we've moved around the world and back again. So my memory is a little confused on what it's about, but maybe I'll share with you in the future once I've actually listened to it. So that's the other book. So I think that's 4 books. There is another book coming out on I want to say the 16th of this month, and it's called Bravely, and it's by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, this is the first Maggie Stiefvater I've ever read, and the really and truly consciously reading of a YA. This is, I thought it was a retelling, or maybe telling a portion of Miranda's story, or her mother's story, from Brave, the movie that Disney made. But I was wrong. It's actually considered a sequel. So we're moving on with Miranda, and I think now she's moved up either in the kingdom, or she is now the queen. I'm not quite sure. And so we'll see what's going on. But the reason why I have that one picked is that, and this is one thing I have with reading challenges that drive me nuts, they give out these great prompts, right? But they're the prompts you wouldn't know unless you've read the book. So something like, the character needed to have red hair. Well, if I had just started Harry Potter, I would have not known that the Weasleys were all redheaded, So you don't know until you read the book. Well, in this case, because of the covers, you can see, I know I've got redhead character covered. So that's why that one came out. But again, I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be kind of interesting. And again, my first Maggie Stiefvater, so we'll see. Who knows? I might be a Ravensboys in the future. Never know. Never know. I've been reading a lot more fantasy recently, and I'm really enjoying it. Not the really super duper, really deep fantasy yet. I'm not picking up Tolkien and immersing in a total different world with different languages and all of that. Not ready for that yet, but it isn't saying that it isn't on the future. You never know. I have been enjoying it. I've been going more of the fae and fairy kind of world fantasy for now. So we'll see. So that is it for me for September. Hopefully I will be successful. If I got 4 of the 5 books read, it'd be phenomenal. If I got 3 of the 5, I think 3 books is more than doable, just because I've already got almost 1 book finished. I've got another one on Audible that's literally probably 35, 40 minutes from ending. So that I just need to get 1 more book done to do that. But if I get 4, I'll be really happy. And if I do all 5, I'll probably just be shocked. Yeah, I'd just be shocked. But we all know the only way this is going to happen is, as I always say, if I just keep turning those pages. Bye for now.